guys, this is your girl Ashabi, and today I will be discussing the holistic impact that COVID-19 is having on individuals. And with me today is Miss Usha Ramlakhan, who is a psychologist. I will have an end credit slide which will give you a short bio on Usha. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you. Usha, thank you so much for coming to my blog.
I am happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I have known Usha since high school, and at this time I'd like to use her expertise. The reason I wanted to do a vlog on COVID-19 and the psychological impact it is having on human behavior is because of what I've observed so far. The thing I'm seeing happening on social media is astounding. I noticed that isolation and quarantine has resulted in where it has affected people physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And I believe that we need to devote some attention to this topic. The main reason why I do my vlogs is to cover relevant issues. So that is why I brought in Usha to discuss this topic with me. So Usha, in my research, I came up with a definition for anxiety by the American Psychological Association that defines anxiety as an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes. For example, like increasing blood pressure.
Well, that is absolutely correct. But in layman terms, anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It is a feeling of fear or apprehension about what is to come.
Okay, Usha, so based on what you just said, will each person experience anxiety in the same way?
Anxiety will affect everyone differently, and that is why it is important for you not to compare yourself to your friends or your family or even social media. Anxiety feels different depending on the person experiencing it.
That's very enlightening. So we said that anxiety is the feeling or fear of apprehension. Can you explain to us what are some of the other feelings people may experience as a result of anxiety?
Well, right now, because people are feeling imprisoned, they are confined to their homes, they feel as though their freedom has been taken away, they can become frustrated quite easily and feel overwhelmed. People can be so fearful of the unknown that it affects them to the extent that they become worried so much that they may not be able to sleep. They may experience insomnia. Some of them may even have nightmares or panic attacks. There are persons who will experience loneliness, and some of them may even become depressed during this time. Those who are sexually active, they may recognize that they have a low sex drive as a result of the high level of stress that they're experiencing. Some people are experiencing financial stress as a result of a cut in salary or loss of a job. Some people will even recognize that they are getting upset or angry quite easily. And these are just some of the feelings that people will go through during this time.
That's very informative. So Usha, how will people be able to identify whether or not this is happening to them? Tell us more about the ways that anxiety resulting from isolation can manifest itself in individuals.
Well, some of the physical symptoms would be that you would notice that your hands or your feet are shaking, or your body is trembling, or you are cold sweating, or your mouth is dry, or you're experiencing numbness or tingling in your fingers and in your toes. Some of you may experience increased heart rate or rapid breathing. You may have a low energy level, or you may feel restless. You may feel dizzy or lightheaded. Some of you may even cold sweat or experience hot flashes. Those are just some of the physical symptoms that you will encounter. And some of the emotional symptoms would be like you feel as though you're going crazy. You're so worried about something, you can't think about anything else, and you feel as though you're going crazy. You are so fearful that you don't know what will happen, and you're always thinking that something bad will happen. You are so anxious that you feel as though you are dying. Your thoughts are usually very negative, and everything you think about is in the extreme. Right. All these are signs and symptoms of anxiety as a result of social distancing, which comes with its own risk because we as humans are social animals. We are hardwired for a connection, and that is why isolation and loneliness and anxiety and depression will be at its all-time high during this time.
That was very interesting. So tell me, Usha, how do you manage, or how do we manage isolation? Can you share with my viewers some tips on how they can manage this quarantine effectively?
Well, it is important to stay connected as best as we can and to reach out for support when you need it. Even as we cut back on in-person socializing, we can still use technology. We can schedule time with family and friends. You can make regular phone calls. You can use Zoom. You can use Skype. While in-person visits are limited, you can substitute video chatting, because face-to-face contact is like a vitamin for your mental health.
Yeah.
All of us at some point in time, we are going to need reassurance. We are going to need advice, or we may even need a sympathetic ear during this difficult time. We need to be careful who we choose as a sounding board. The coronavirus is not the only thing that's contagious. So are our emotions. So we need to avoid talking about the virus or things that is bothering us with people who are negative, because negative people will reinforce our fears. We need to turn to people in our life who are thoughtful, who are level-headed, and who are good listeners. We also need to be kind to ourselves. Go easy on yourself, because if you are experiencing more depression or anxiety than usual, you are not alone in your struggles. There are others who are experiencing the same thing, because this is something new to all of us. As best as we can, we should maintain a routine. Even if you are stuck at home, try to stick to a regular sleep pattern or regular studies or regular work schedule. This can be you maintaining a sense of normalcy. Work at your own pace though, because this is a time when you may not be as productive as you would normally be, so don't be too hard on yourself. You can also take time for activities that you enjoy, like reading a book or watching a comedy or watching movies or playing games with your family or playing a video game or cooking something. Whatever it is, whether it's a craft or whether it's a board game, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as it takes you out of your worries. You may not be able to go and exercise and go out in the public, but what you can do, you can go in your backyard and you can garden, you can get some fresh air, you can get some sunlight, you can walk around the house, you can find things that can keep you occupied, even if it means exercising while putting on a YouTube video and doing some exercise, which would help to relieve anxiety and relieve stress. You can even put on a dance video and you and your family can dance together. You can walk up and down the stairs, you can do yoga. All these are physical things that you can do. We may be tempted though to drink alcohol or use other substance abuse to deal with anxiety or depression, but you may tend to overdo it in a time like this because of the high level of stress that you may experience. So it is a good idea to avoid or minimize alcohol intake, because this is a time when we need to have a strong immune system, and alcohol breaks down your immune system. And there may come a time when you yourself may need to be a calming influence to others, where you may need to find perspective in the situation. So be positive and try to uplift others and try to help them feel better about the situation. And those are just some of the basic everyday things that you can do while you are at home during this quarantine period.
Thank you so much, Usha. Those are very valuable points. And I myself can say that I am guilty of at least one or two of those items, especially with your sleep patterns. You find yourself watching a lot more television, but you've also provided us with a lot of constructive things to do, which I really like and appreciate. So one thing I want to ask Usha, as we do not have control over this pandemic, what are some of the things we should be focusing on mentally?
There are things that we can't focus on, because there are so many things that is outside of our control, including how long the pandemic would last, how other people would behave, what's going to happen in our communities. And so those are things that we cannot control. But what we can control is the simple things that we have been told to do. Simple things as washing your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds with soap and water, using hand sanitizers. Avoid touching your face, particularly your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. Trying to stay at home as much as possible, even if you don't feel like it. Avoiding crowds and gatherings of more than 10 people. Avoid trying to go to non-essential shopping and traveling. Keep 6 feet away from persons if you are in contact with them. Try to get plenty of sleep. which helps your immune system. These are some of the things that we can do. These are some of the things that we do have control over. So as much as possible, if we practice these things, then we can contribute to flattening the curve.
I am in total agreement, and as I say, valuable points. So in closing, Usha, what are some of your final comments before we go?
It's a frightening time, and as we are in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, and entire countries are shutting down. Some of us are in areas that have already been affected by coronavirus, and others are bracing for what may come. All of us are watching the headlines and wondering what is going to happen next. And for many people, the uncertainty surrounding coronavirus is the hardest thing to handle. We don't know how exactly we will be impacted or how bad things might get, and that makes it all too easy to spiral into overwhelming panic. So therefore, I want to encourage you as much as possible, stay informed, but don't obsessively check the news. It is vital to stay informed, particularly about what's happening in your community, so you can follow advice on safety precautions and you can do your part to slow the spread of coronavirus. But there's a lot of misinformation that is going around. And so I want to encourage you to stick to trustworthy sources. Limit how often you check for updates. Don't let the coronavirus dominate your every conversation. It is important to take breaks from stressful thoughts about the pandemic to simply enjoy each other's company, to laugh, to share stories, and focus on other things going on in your life. So my encouragement to you is to stay safe, stay home, and do your part so that we all can contribute to flattening the curve.
Thank you so much, Usha. All these points that you have discussed today was very enlightening and informative. And I believe that my viewers will be intrigued, and I'm sure they will be able to apply it to something in their daily lives, to be able to help them to cope with this pandemic and recover. And hopefully soon we'll all be back to normal. Okay, guys, you heard it. As Usha said, we must do our part in practicing safe measures and applying these tips discussed today for managing your self-quarantine isolation. Let's all do our part in flattening the curve and riding this wave out. Remember, in order to heal the planet, we need an increase in positive energy and vibrations. This means you sharing this vlog and creating awareness that our mental health during this period is of great importance. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and of course my Instagram account. You can follow me at AshaB_Tillytree. Thank you again so much for watching. Bye guys.